I've just had one of those messages that is worth a Netflix series. It's incredible. What am I talking about? This quick video is just aimed to those who've been told or think or believe that having a sexual fantasy is somehow a sin. That nagging belief that your sexy daydreams are shameful is nothing but outdated moral values. And it's time to smash that taboo wide open. So this society has been running the shame factory for centuries, pumping out the idea that having a sexual fantasy is a mark of moral failure. And so you may have this inner voice whispering, "You're so dirty for thinking like that." That's shame, guilt. And how about not telling this to anyone? This is something that we just keep to ourselves normally, and we don't share with anyone because how could you openly? So, what's really underneath all this? Why do we believe that? Why do we feel like this? Well, it's cultural programming. We are all programmed. And the old school morality back in the day taught us that exploring sexual desire was wrong and sinful. And the simple thought of sharing your fantasy feels like stepping into the spotlight with a shame word in your forehead. That's fear of judgment. We are so fearful about what others are going to think about us. So, what do? Suppress it. And constantly suppressing what makes you uniquely human, you end up feeling isolated and inauthentic. You're not yourself. You put on a mask. But the more you hide, the heavier the burden gets. And this is valid for everything, not only sexual desires or fantasies, until it feels like this thing, in this case, the fantasy, it's a humongous secret that you cannot reveal for the love of your life. So why is this? Well, because you are wired, we are all wired to seek validation. And since we've been taught that these fantasies are off limits, your mind is going to search for the evidence that that is so. But this is a false narrative, just made up narrative. Every time you catch yourself daydreaming or have a dream, a wet dream or something, that inner voice grows louder and louder and never stops. And so you end up living a life with self-imposed restrictions. So it's time to flip the script, I think. And instead of thinking that having a sexual fantasy is shameful, let's reframe it and think, I have the freedom to explore my inner world, and my fantasies are a natural part of who I am. It's just like swapping glasses. And suddenly you see the world through a new lens. So how to do it? First, acknowledge it. Admit that that is a belief that you have about the shame or the guilt. It's just a belief. It's not a reflection of who you are, of your true self, but a social construct that keeps you in a box, limited box. Now, step 2, question that belief. Ask yourself, why should a fantasy that lives in my imagination dictate my worth? And so you'll quickly realize that just fantasy is just a fantasy, it's just that. A harmless product of your imagination, of your creative mind, not a moral failing. And 3, embrace your authenticity. Start owning those fantasies without the fear of judgment. I'm not telling you just go and share with everyone, with your partner. Let's start slow first, but it should be okay to share. That's totally okay. Your sexual fantasies are not the enemy. And we know that society is stuck in this dusty, judgmental ways. But you're not. It's time to break free from those limiting beliefs. There are many, I know, there are many limiting beliefs that keep us in boxes. But there is a way to change that. So own your fantasies and laugh at the absurdity of outdated moral values. Live unapologetically, not harming anyone. Remember the golden rule, the only rule you need to abide by. So embrace your inner rebel and reclaim your right to dream wildly, freely, without shame. Your best self is waiting. And trust me, it is a lot more interesting than that boring you, the guilt ridden version you've been settling for.